Remember Penny from The Big Bang Theory? This is her now, and it's heartbreaking. It's strange, isn't it, that the man who played hundreds of cowboys, who stood for truth and justice on screen, might have spent his entire life hiding? Randolph Scott was the kind of actor audiences trusted. When he walked into a saloon in a Western, you knew the bad guys were in trouble. He had that quiet dignity, that righteous stare, that steel-in-the-spine charisma. But off-screen, there's a growing belief, one whispered for years behind closed doors, that Scott was playing a role he never got to stop playing, that the real man behind the cowboy hat was never allowed to step forward, not in public, not in press, not even, some say, with his closest friends. And if that's true, if Randolph Scott really did live behind a carefully constructed mask, then it forces us to ask the question, was he a hero or a prisoner? And here's where it gets emotional. Because if James Garner did know the truth, if he saw through the myth, then his quiet criticisms weren't cruel, they were grieving. A man like Garner, who fought to be honest in an industry built on lies, might have looked at someone like Scott and thought, they didn't let him be who he really was. And maybe that's what haunted him, not the scandal, not the rumors, but the silence. Because behind all the gossip and speculation is something far more tragic. A man who made millions believe in strength while never getting to show his own vulnerability. A man who looked fearless on screen, but may have lived in fear behind it. And a man who, even in death, still isn't allowed to be remembered as he truly was, because the image still matters more than the individual. That's the real heartbreak here. And it's one James Garner, in his own way, tried to reveal, not with headlines, not with accusations, but with just enough honesty to crack the mask, even if only a little. And yet, one final question remains. Kaley Cuoco wasn't just another kid with a dream. From the very start, she carried a sense of purpose that went far beyond her years. By the age of 6, she was already stepping onto her first commercial set, standing under the harsh glare of studio lights, a tiny figure brimming with a mix of excitement, nerves, and fierce determination. For most children, playtime was enough. But for Kaley, acting wasn't a pastime. It was her heartbeat, the rhythm that set her world in motion. She quickly learned that in Hollywood, talent alone wasn't enough. Every role had to be earned, every line memorized with precision, every smile polished until it felt effortless. Failure wasn't just a possibility, it was inevitable, and each no was a lesson in perseverance. But Kaley's childhood wasn't confined to the studio. She was also a gifted athlete, ranking among Southern California's top tennis players. Early mornings were spent on the court, practicing serves and perfecting swings, afternoons in front of cameras and audition panels, nights memorizing scripts and perfecting scenes. It was a relentless schedule for any child, but Kaley thrived under the pressure. Even exhaustion couldn't dim her fire. She refused to let limits define her, whether imposed by adults, peers, or the world itself. By the time she entered her teenage years, Kaley had already experienced both the thrill of small victories and the sting of quiet rejection. A missed audition, a lost part, a role that didn't pan out, each moment was a test of her resilience. But she had learned one critical truth early on. The path to success in the spotlight isn't just about talent, it's about grit, courage, and the ability to keep moving forward even when the world doesn't notice. And while her peers were navigating typical teenage struggles, Kaley was building a foundation for something far bigger. She was learning lessons about discipline, focus, and sacrifice that would serve her in the years to come, shaping not only her career, but her very identity. Behind the smiles, behind the sparkling screen presence she would one day be known for, there was a girl quietly forging herself into someone capable of weathering Hollywood's storms, someone who could handle both triumph and heartbreak with grace. Little did anyone realize then, as this California girl balanced tennis rackets and scripts, that she was on the cusp of becoming one of television's most beloved and recognizable stars. And yet, the real story, the challenges, the heartbreaks, and the incredible triumphs was only beginning to unfold. Kaley Cuoco's journey into acting didn't start with a headline role or instant fame. It began with small, seemingly ordinary parts that, at the time, seemed like stepping stones. Commercials, minor TV appearances, guest spots. These were the early chapters of a story few could see unfolding. Imagine a girl barely in her teens, standing under the harsh glare of studio lights, cameras rolling, surrounded by seasoned actors who had been in the business for years. For most kids, the situation would have been intimidating, even paralyzing. But not for Kaley. She carried an instinctive confidence, a rare charisma that seemed to light up the room. Even in a crowd of professionals, she had a way of drawing the eye, of making people take notice without even trying. Her early roles might have seemed insignificant to the outside world, but each one was a masterclass in learning the ropes of Hollywood. She discovered the subtle art of timing, the importance of listening, the invisible threads that connect an actor to an audience. Rejection became part of the process. Every no was a lesson in resilience, every small success a glimpse of what was possible. Auditions weren't just tests of skill, they were trials of perseverance, teaching her patience and grit long before she knew they would define her career. By the time Kaley booked her first recurring role, she'd already developed a mindset that many young actors only discover much later. Talent may open doors, but persistence and work ethic are what keep them open. She understood that fame wasn't immediate, that success in Hollywood was a marathon, not a sprint. And just when she was beginning to feel the slow, steady momentum of a career on the rise, a life-changing opportunity appeared, an audition that would catapult her from a promising young talent into a household name. The stakes were high, and the moment demanded everything she had. Then came the role that would define not just her career, but her life in ways she could never have imagined. Penny in The Big Bang Theory. The casting process was intense, as it always is in Hollywood, but Kaley approached it with the same determination that had carried her through years of small roles and late-night rehearsals. She walked into the audition room like any other day, but what she brought with her was different. An effortless charm, razor-sharp comedic timing, and an energy that seemed to leap from the room to the camera and eventually into the hearts of millions. Casting directors and producers immediately recognized that she wasn't just another young actress trying to fit a mold. She was someone who could make a character unforgettable. Penny wasn't just a role on a page. She was a living, breathing personality, and Kaley brought her to life with warmth, humor, and relatability. Audiences would come to adore her for her wit, her vulnerability, and her perfect blend of confidence and charm. But behind the scenes, Kaley was navigating a whirlwind of new responsibilities. Fame arrived suddenly, accompanied by grueling schedules, media scrutiny, and the relentless pressure to meet expectations not just for herself, but for a show millions of people were coming to love. For a young woman still in her 20s, the experience could have been overwhelming, but instead of letting the pressures break her, Kaley used them as fuel. Every awkward scene, every critique, every long day on set only sharpened her skills, deepened her resolve, and strengthened her connection to the character she now inhabited. Penny became more than just a TV role. She became a platform for Kaley's talents, a doorway into the kind of stardom that few actors ever experience, and a story of perseverance and adaptability that would inspire countless fans. And while the world was watching her light up the screen, the real journey, the highs, the heartbreaks, the personal challenges behind the glamour was only just beginning to unfold. As The Big Bang Theory skyrocketed to unprecedented popularity, Kaley Cuoco's world shifted in ways she could never have imagined. One day, she was a young actress walking into auditions, hoping for a lucky break. The next, she was recognized everywhere she went, on bustling streets, in quiet cafes, even at airports where fans would approach her, cameras flashing, hoping for a glimpse of the girl who had become Penny. Fame arrived like a tidal wave, thrilling and intoxicating, but also overwhelming in its sheer scale. The perks were undeniable. Glamorous premieres, red carpets lined with flashing cameras, letters from fans across the globe, and the surreal joy of knowing that millions were tuning in week after week to watch her bring a beloved character to life. Yet, behind the bright lights and applause was a relentless reality that few outsiders ever saw. The hours on set were long, sometimes stretching into the night, with every line, every joke, every subtle expression subject to meticulous scrutiny. Kaley had to deliver perfection, not just once, but hundreds of times. all while maintaining the effortless charm and comedic timing that made Penny so relatable. Being part of such a cultural phenomenon came with its own pressures. Scripts evolved, audiences reacted, and the character she had poured herself into became larger than life. Kaley wasn't just an actress anymore. She was a symbol, a figure millions emotionally invested in, and with that visibility came challenges she hadn't anticipated. Paparazzi followed her footsteps. Social media magnified every moment, and casual mistakes were dissected by strangers online. Yet, through it all, she learned to navigate the chaos with a mixture of humor, grit, and grace. Penny became more than just a role. It became a connection to the world, a character that millions invited into their homes week after week. But even amidst that dazzling success, Kaley knew that life off-camera was a very different story, one filled with its own trials and hidden battles. While millions saw Penny's laughter, charm, and seemingly effortless life, the reality behind the cameras was far more complex. For Kaley Cuoco, fame came with invisible weights that few could truly understand. Every smile in public, every joke delivered on set, every perfectly timed scene was underpinned by relentless pressure, exhaustion, and the constant need to maintain a persona in the public eye. Privacy became a rare luxury. Even ordinary moments were often scrutinized, commented on, or distorted. Alongside the rigorous demands of a top-rated show, rumors began to circulate. Tabloid headlines speculated about conflicts on set, personal struggles, and the challenges of balancing stardom with real life. Some stories were exaggerated, some were rooted in truth, but all of them added an invisible tension to her daily existence. Kaley had to learn how to filter the noise, to protect herself mentally and emotionally, and to keep moving forward despite the spotlight's glare. These experiences shaped her profoundly. They taught her the importance of resilience, the necessity of setting boundaries, and the value of a support system that could help her navigate the highs and lows of life as a global celebrity. Yet, even as she mastered this delicate balancing act, life had more surprises waiting. Fame was no longer just a dream come true. It was a crucible, one that would test her strength, character, and ability to rise above adversity in ways few could imagine. And just when she seemed to have found stability, the next chapter of her life would challenge her more deeply than ever before. When The Big Bang Theory finally wrapped after an astounding 12 seasons, the world expected Kaley Cuoco's life to glide smoothly into new opportunities, red carpets, and endless acclaim. After all, she'd just spent over a decade embodying Penny, a character beloved by millions around the globe. Fame was secure, her bank account impressive, and doors in Hollywood seemed wide open. But endings, even celebratory ones, can hit harder than anyone anticipates. Suddenly the cameras stopped rolling. The familiar rhythm of scripts, rehearsals, and on-set camaraderie vanished. For the first time in years, Kaley was faced with silence, a void where laughter, applause, and the comforting predictability of routine had once filled her days. The freedom was intoxicating but disorienting. She could explore new roles, take creative risks, and even pursue personal passions that had been on hold. Yet that very freedom carried a gnawing uncertainty. Without Penny, she had to confront one of the hardest questions an actor can face. Who am I beyond the character the world associates me with? And what do I truly want for the next chapter of my life and career? Transitioning from a show that defined her was no small feat. Hollywood is unforgiving, especially for actors trying to escape the shadow of an iconic role. Every audition, every project, every public appearance came with the pressure to prove herself all over again. The stakes were high, any misstep could be magnified, every success scrutinized. And yet, Kaley embraced the challenge with determination. She experimented with new genres, explored producing opportunities, and even stepped into roles behind the camera. But life wasn't just about professional reinvention. Outside of work, the world had changed. Personal struggles, public curiosity, and the weight of expectations loomed large. Kaley had to navigate not only a shifting career but also a public identity that had been constructed over 12 years. It was a delicate balancing act, holding on to herself, discovering new ambitions, and stepping bravely into a life that was no longer defined by scripts and sitcom schedules. And just as she was beginning to feel grounded in this new chapter, life would throw yet another curveball that would challenge her resilience in ways she hadn't imagined. For Kaley Cuoco, personal life has never been private. Every relationship, every choice, every glimpse into her world, whether through social media, interviews, or paparazzi photos, was immediately dissected and dissected again. Growing up in the spotlight meant admiration came hand in hand with relentless scrutiny. Every smile on the red carpet, every rumored romance, and even casual interactions became fodder for headlines. High-profile relationships, rumored tensions with co-stars, and whispers of Hollywood drama followed her like shadows. Some stories were light-hearted, others misleading, and some cut deeply into her private life. The world seemed to demand perfection, or at least a curated version of it. For Kaley, this meant learning to cultivate a thick skin, protect her mental health, and stay true to herself in a world that often seemed determined to distort reality. Yet, despite the public pressure, Kaley never let criticism dictate her life. She turned to her passions, acting, producing, even her love for animals, and the trusted circle of friends and family who understood her beyond the headlines. She learned that fame can amplify both joy and pain, that public admiration often comes with invisible chains, and that carving a personal life in Hollywood requires courage, patience, and self-awareness. Even as she charted a new path in her career, life continued to challenge her. Fame may shine brightly, but it casts long shadows, and Kaley learned firsthand how to walk through both with grace and resilience. Behind every glamorous appearance and perfectly crafted Instagram post lies a story of vulnerability, ambition, and relentless determination, a story that continues to evolve with each chapter of her life. It's easy to see Kaley Cuoco and imagine a life of red carpets, glamorous photo shoots, and magazine covers. But behind the polished exterior lies a very human story, a story of vulnerability, resilience, and the quiet battles that fame often conceals. For every smiling selfie or viral moment, there are moments of doubt, anxiety, and the constant juggling act of life under public scrutiny. Fame doesn't erase the pressures of life, it magnifies them. Kaley learned early that being adored by millions comes with invisible weights, judgment, rumor, and the expectation to perform not just on screen, but in every aspect of life. Privacy becomes a rare luxury, and even simple choices, what to wear, where to eat, how to spend a weekend, are dissected by fans and media alike. Balancing a personal life with a demanding career, protecting mental health, and maintaining a sense of self became daily challenges. Yet Kaley faced these pressures with remarkable resilience. She embraced her humanity, acknowledging the struggles while refusing to let them define her. Every tabloid headline, every awkward interview, every moment of public scrutiny became part of a larger lesson in self-awareness, strength, and perseverance. She cultivated boundaries, learned when to step back, and discovered that fame, while powerful, could never replace authenticity and self-respect. Behind the glamour, Kaley's journey is deeply relatable. She experiences insecurities, faces challenges, and triumphs in ways that remind us that celebrities are human too. Her evolution as a performer and as a person highlights an important truth. True stardom isn't just about recognition or wealth. It's about navigating life with courage, authenticity, and the ability to rise stronger from every obstacle. Kaley Cuoco's story behind the scenes is a testament to resilience, ambition, and self-discovery. It shows that fame may be dazzling, but it's the choices, struggles, and personal victories that truly define a life, and that even in the brightest spotlight, the most compelling stories are often the ones lived quietly, away from the cameras. Kaley Cuoco didn't just want to be known as the girl next door from a sitcom. She wanted to explore every corner of storytelling, to immerse herself in every facet of creativity the industry had to offer. One of the most fascinating chapters in her post-Big Bang journey has been voice acting. Giving life to animated characters allowed Kaley to escape the physical constraints of live-action performance and explore a limitless world of expression. In these animated universes, she could experiment with humor, drama, and emotion in ways that the rigid schedules and physical demands of traditional sets sometimes couldn't allow. It wasn't merely a career move. It was a playground for her imagination, a place where her talent could shine unrestrained and where she could take risks that live action sometimes wouldn't permit. But Kaley's ambitions didn't stop there. She took bold, sometimes surprising steps behind the camera as a producer, a role that demanded a completely different skill set. Here, she wasn't just acting, she was crafting stories, shaping characters, making critical decisions that would affect entire productions. This transformation from performer to storyteller, from actress to architect of worlds, marked a profound evolution in her career. She was no longer simply interpreting someone else's vision. She was creating her own, asserting control in an industry notorious for unpredictability and rigid hierarchies. Every project she produced, every script she touched, every voice role she performed was a statement. Kaley Cuoco was more than Penny. She was a force, a creative mind with vision, influence, and ambition. Of course, stepping into these new roles brought its own set of pressures. Producing is a demanding, high-stakes world, filled with long hours, tense negotiations, and endless problem-solving. Hollywood insiders quickly realized that talent alone wasn't enough. Kaley had to prove herself in boardrooms, on set, and behind the scenes. But with her trademark resilience, sharp wit, and tireless work ethic, she navigated these challenges with determination, turning obstacles into opportunities and continually pushing the boundaries of what people expected from her. In doing so, she proved that her abilities extended far beyond the screen, a testament to her vision, grit, and refusal to be confined by a single image or role. Through voice work and production, Kaley Cuoco has redefined what it means to evolve as an actor in Hollywood. She's a storyteller, a creator, and a leader, someone unafraid to step beyond comfort zones, to embrace risk, and to leave a lasting mark on her craft. Leaving behind a character like Penny is both liberating and terrifying. For Kaley Cuoco, The Big Bang Theory wasn't just a job, it was over a decade of her life, a defining chapter that shaped not just her career, but her identity. Saying goodbye to Penny meant stepping into uncharted territory, redefining herself in an industry notoriously unforgiving to actors who are typecast. The world had fallen in love with Penny's infectious charm, wit, and vulnerability, and fans had expectations that were nearly impossible to escape. Every new role Kaley took on was inevitably measured against that towering legacy, a comparison that could intimidate even the most seasoned performer. But instead of shrinking under the pressure, Kaley leaned into it. She intentionally sought roles that challenged her, pushing her to explore facets of her talent that Penny hadn't allowed. Comedy, drama, voice acting, and producing became tools in her arsenal, each an opportunity to prove that she was more than the girl next door millions had adored. Yet, this transition came with its own psychological toll. Critics can be unforgiving, studios cautious, and audiences unrelenting. Every audition, every new project became a test, a proving ground where Kaley silently said, "I'm not just Penny, I am Kaley Cuoco, the artist, the storyteller, the person." What makes this chapter of her journey so compelling is the emotional depth beneath the surface. Beyond the bright lights, the red carpets, and the glamorous premieres lies vulnerability, a young woman pushing herself to grow, embracing the uncertainty of change, and risking failure in a world that often prefers the familiar. Each role she took, each decision she made, reflected courage, the kind that doesn't always make headlines, but quietly defines true artistry. And as Kaley stepped into these new arenas, it became clear that her story wasn't just about fame, it was about reinvention, authenticity, and the relentless pursuit of personal and professional evolution. This transition also offered lessons in resilience that few outsiders could fully grasp. She learned to separate herself from criticism, to trust her instincts, and to find fulfillment in the process of creation rather than only in accolades. And in doing so, she sent a powerful message to aspiring artists everywhere. Greatness isn't just about achieving success, it's about daring to redefine it, over and over again, even when the world is watching. Leaving behind a character like Penny is both liberating and terrifying. For Kaley Cuoco, The Big Bang Theory wasn't just a job, it was over a decade of her life, a defining chapter that shaped not just her career but her identity. Saying goodbye to Penny meant stepping into uncharted territory, redefining herself in an industry notoriously unforgiving to actors who are typecast. The world had fallen in love with Penny's infectious charm, wit, and vulnerability, and fans had expectations that were nearly impossible to escape. Every new role Kaley took on was inevitably measured against that towering legacy, a comparison that could intimidate even the most seasoned performer. But instead of shrinking under the pressure, Kaley leaned into it. She intentionally sought roles that challenged her, pushing her to explore facets of her talent that Penny hadn't allowed. Comedy, drama, voice acting, and producing became tools in her arsenal, each an opportunity to prove that she was more than the girl next door millions had adored. Yet this transition came with its own psychological toll. Critics can be unforgiving, studios cautious, and audiences unrelenting. Every audition, every new project became a test, a proving ground where Kaley silently said, "I'm not just Penny, I am Kaley Cuoco, the artist, the storyteller, the person." What makes this chapter of her journey so compelling is the emotional depth beneath the surface. Beyond the bright lights, the red carpets, and the glamorous premieres lies vulnerability. A young woman pushing herself to grow, embracing the uncertainty of change, and risking failure in a world that often prefers the familiar. Each role she took, each decision she made, reflected courage. The kind that doesn't always make headlines, but quietly defines true artistry. And as Kaley stepped into these new arenas, it became clear that her story wasn't just about fame. It was about reinvention, authenticity, and the relentless pursuit of personal and professional evolution. This transition also offered lessons in resilience that few outsiders could fully grasp. She learned to separate herself from criticism, to trust her instincts, and to find fulfillment in the process of creation rather than only in accolades. And in doing so, she sent a powerful message to aspiring artists everywhere. Greatness isn't just about achieving success. It's about daring to redefine it over and over again, even when the world is watching. Kaley Cuoco didn't want to be remembered as just a TV star. She wanted her talent to transcend formats, genres, and expectations. After The Big Bang Theory ended, she dove headfirst into films, guest roles, and new projects that challenged her in ways sitcom acting never could. From romantic comedies that tested her timing and charm, to suspenseful thrillers demanding intensity and grit, Kaley was exploring uncharted territory, determined to stretch the limits of her craft. Every choice she made was deliberate, a statement that she wasn't going to play it safe or let her career be defined by past success alone. One of her most transformative projects was The Flight Attendant, a role that demanded the full range of her abilities. Here, Kaley was no longer the familiar, lovable Penny. She was a multifaceted, complex lead navigating danger, dark humor, and intense emotional stakes. Critics and audiences alike took notice. Emmy nominations and accolades followed, not merely for her fame, but for the undeniable skill, depth, and authenticity she brought to the role. For longtime fans, it was a revelation, a reminder that the woman behind the character was fearless, multifaceted, and unapologetically bold. Yet with every success came new pressures. Hollywood doesn't wait, and even established stars face constant competition, evolving audience expectations, and the relentless pace of production cycles. Kaley had to stay vigilant, resilient, and inventive, balancing her career ambitions with public scrutiny and personal growth. Each project required not just talent, but strategy, discipline, and emotional intelligence, a combination that few actors master so thoroughly. Her journey beyond television shows that true stardom isn't about comfort or predictability. It's about evolution, reinvention, and courage. Kaley Cuoco's post-Big Bang career demonstrates that real success lies not only in winning hearts, but in challenging yourself to grow, stepping into risk-filled roles, and boldly proving that your artistry extends far beyond what people expect. Every film, every guest appearance, every production role is a testament to her dedication, a story of ambition, adaptability, and fearless pursuit of excellence that keeps audiences captivated season after season. Behind the bright lights, red carpets, and accolades, Kaley Cuoco has faced battles that fame often conceals. Mental health, an issue frequently hidden behind glamour and applause, became a reality she could no longer ignore. For someone in the public eye since childhood, the pressures of Hollywood, relentless schedules, media scrutiny, and constant performance can be overwhelming. Depression, anxiety, and stress are not abstract concepts for Kaley. They are lived experiences that shaped her both personally and professionally. She has openly discussed the importance of therapy, meditation, and self-care, revealing a side of Hollywood few get to see. Her candidness about mental health struggles transforms her from simply a beloved celebrity into a relatable figure and, more importantly, an inspiration. Fans can see themselves in her journey, someone striving for success, grappling with pressure, and yet finding ways to navigate it with strength, strategy, and authenticity. These moments of vulnerability remind the world that resilience is not about perfection or invincibility. It's about confronting challenges honestly, seeking help when needed, and continuing to move forward even when life feels overwhelming. What makes this aspect of her story especially compelling is the tension between public perception and private reality. Millions see her as confident, poised, and successful. Yet few understand the inner work required to maintain mental and emotional equilibrium under such scrutiny. Kaley balances this duality with remarkable grace, acknowledging struggles while celebrating growth, honoring both vulnerability and courage. Her journey highlights a universal truth, that fame and achievement do not shield one from human challenges, but they can provide a platform to inspire, normalize conversations about mental health, and encourage others to prioritize well-being. Kaley's story of mental health and resilience is deeply human, powerful, and ongoing. It underscores that her journey isn't just about surviving the pressures of Hollywood, it's about thriving, learning, and embracing the full spectrum of experience. She demonstrates that true strength lies not in avoidance, but in facing life honestly, cultivating inner resources, and turning challenges into opportunities for personal and professional growth. In doing so, she continues to redefine what it means to succeed, not just as an actress, but as a person, a storyteller, and a source of inspiration to millions who look up to her. After conquering television, Kaley Cuoco refused to let herself be defined by a single character. Penny had made her a household name, but she knew that staying in one lane could quickly turn admiration into typecasting. So she pushed herself into new genres, taking on roles that tested her versatility, from drama to dark comedy, and even into the unpredictable world of film. Each project became more than just work. It was a personal challenge, a way to prove to herself and to the world that she was more than a sitcom star. Kaley quickly realized that success in Hollywood is rarely straightforward. Some projects soared, capturing audience and critical acclaim. Others stumbled, forgotten in the shuffle, yet she never let failure define her. Instead, she embraced each setback as a lesson, each critique as a tool for growth, and every audition as a chance to refine her craft. In doing so, she transformed the narrative. Fans began to see her not merely as Penny, the bubbly, witty neighbor, but as a fearless, multifaceted performer willing to take risks, challenge herself, and defy expectations. Her expansion didn't stop at acting. Behind the camera, Kaley became increasingly involved in production, stepping into a role that allowed her to shape stories from start to finish. Producing gave her a unique perspective on storytelling, allowing her to influence scripts, casting decisions, and the overall vision of projects. It gave her agency, letting her select narratives that mattered and develop roles that resonated with audiences on a deeper level. For Kaley, Hollywood was no longer just a stage. It was a platform to create meaningful work, to push boundaries, and to leave a lasting imprint. But as she carved out this new space for herself, life was never predictable. Personal developments, public scrutiny, and the constant pressure to perform created new challenges, each demanding resilience, strategy, and unwavering commitment. Through it all, Kaley's journey reflects a rare combination: ambition tempered with authenticity, boldness paired with vulnerability, and a refusal to let past success define the future. Her career isn't just evolving, it's expanding in ways that continue to captivate and inspire audiences worldwide. Fame is a paradox, and Kaley Cuoco knows it intimately. The adoration of millions can be exhilarating, a heady mix of validation, opportunity, and influence. Yet fame also brings intense scrutiny, relentless judgment, and a public gaze that dissects every choice, every gesture, and every word. One misinterpreted social media post or misunderstood interview could spark rumors, ignite tabloid headlines, or even overshadow accomplishments. Kaley has learned to navigate this complex terrain with remarkable poise. She balances authenticity with discretion, using her platform to highlight her work, her passions, and her personal truths while deflecting negativity and gossip. It's a delicate dance, remaining open to her audience while guarding the private parts of her life that sustain her emotionally. The ability to maintain this balance in such a high-pressure environment is a testament to her intelligence, self-awareness, and resilience. What makes Kaley's story particularly compelling is the humanity beneath the celebrity. Behind the red carpets, television cameras, and magazine covers, she is a woman who grapples with insecurities, faces criticism, and navigates the same emotional complexities as anyone else, yet continues to find purpose, joy, and meaning in her work. She has cultivated a mindset that blends perspective with ambition, allowing her to evolve personally and professionally without losing sight of who she is. Through triumphs and missteps, successes and controversies, Kaley remains unshaken. Her ability to maintain perspective, embrace growth, and redefine herself in a fast-changing, unforgiving industry keeps fans riveted. Every role, every project, and every public interaction becomes part of a larger narrative. A story of resilience, reinvention, and authenticity. And even as she masters the intricacies of fame, life continues to offer new opportunities and unexpected challenges, each shaping the next chapter in the remarkable journey of one of Hollywood's most dynamic and inspiring figures. After stepping out of Penny's long shadow, Kaley Cuoco set out on a mission to find roles that would truly test her talent and stretch her creative boundaries. One of the defining moments in this chapter of her career was landing the lead in The Flight Attendant. This wasn't just another acting gig, it was a full immersion into a character layered with complexity, wit, vulnerability, and darkness. It was a far cry from the bubbly neighbor audiences had adored for over a decade, and the risk couldn't have been higher. Kaley knew that fans, critics, and industry insiders would all be scrutinizing her every move. There was no safety net, but she thrived. Every glance, every pause, every subtle shift in her performance revealed a depth that many had not expected from someone long associated with a comedic role. She balanced dark humor with moments of raw, unsettling vulnerability, creating a portrayal that was equal parts thrilling, heartbreaking, and mesmerizing. Her performance not only captivated viewers, but also earned critical acclaim, award buzz, and serious discussions about Emmy recognition. It was clear Kaley was no longer just Penny. She was a fearless, versatile lead capable of carrying complex, high-stakes stories. Behind the cameras, however, the challenges were immense. Long shooting days, emotionally charged scenes, and the constant weight of audience and critical scrutiny pushed her to the edge. But Kaley's resilience shone through. Every hurdle became a chance to prove herself, every challenge an opportunity to redefine her career. The Flight Attendant wasn't just a project. It was a declaration. Reinvention is possible, even when the world knows you as one character. And just as she began to cement her place as a serious, multifaceted actor, the Hollywood machine continued to spin, ready to present new opportunities, challenges, and tests of her resolve. Success in Hollywood has always been more than talent. It's a maze of politics, systemic biases, and unspoken rules, especially for women. For Kaley Cuoco, navigating this terrain meant not just performing, but asserting her creative vision, taking control as a producer, and challenging long-standing norms in an industry still grappling with gender inequality. Every career choice became a negotiation, not just of roles, but of respect, authority, and the ability to shape her own path. Kaley quickly learned that success wasn't just about doing her job well. It was about advocating for herself in boardrooms dominated by doubt, skepticism, or subtle bias. Choosing projects, guiding productions, and shaping narratives required strategy, intuition, and courage. She had to maintain her authenticity while commanding authority, proving that she could excel both in front of the camera and behind it. Each decision became a test of resilience, the ability to stand firm, speak up, and take ownership of her creative vision. At the same time, public perception often blurred the lines between professional challenges and personal judgment. Tabloid speculation, social media criticism, and relentless commentary could easily shake anyone's confidence. Kaley had to develop not only a thick skin, but also the emotional intelligence to separate external noise from her own goals and values. She learned that real strength is not about flawless performance. It's about maintaining integrity, asserting agency, and making decisions aligned with your vision, even when under unrelenting pressure. What makes this stage of her journey so compelling is the interplay of vulnerability and determination. Here is a woman negotiating enormous professional pressures, challenging an industry's expectations, and managing public scrutiny, all while continuing to evolve and redefine herself. Each negotiation, each boundary set, and each success paints a portrait of Kaley Cuoco as not only a talented actor, but a formidable creative force who refuses to be confined by expectations, stereotypes, or the shadow of past roles. Even as Kaley Cuoco's star continued to rise, one of the greatest challenges she faced was balancing her personal life with the relentless demands of a Hollywood career. Fame doesn't pause for anniversaries, birthdays, or quiet nights at home. Kaley had to navigate a world where every decision, every relationship, every social outing, every personal milestone was under public scrutiny. Maintaining genuine connections while constantly being in the public eye required emotional intelligence, strategy, and a thick skin. Friendships could be tested by distance or misinterpretation, romantic relationships scrutinized by tabloids, and even family life occasionally caught in the glare of media attention. For someone who grew up under cameras and studio lights, these pressures were familiar, yet their intensity only increased as her fame grew. Despite the challenges, Kaley demonstrated remarkable resilience. She carved out personal time, protected her privacy fiercely, and learned to separate the person she was from the celebrity the world saw. She understood that a fulfilling life couldn't be measured by likes, headlines, or accolades. It had to be lived authentically, with people she trusted and passions that grounded her. Every choice she made in this arena wasn't just about surviving fame. It was about thriving, creating a life where personal fulfillment and professional achievement could coexist. And yet, even as she managed this delicate balancing act, life had a way of introducing unexpected twists, moments that would test her values, resilience, and emotional strength in ways no role could prepare her for. Being in the spotlight comes with a double-edged sword. Admiration and love on one side, relentless scrutiny and judgment on the other. Kaley Cuoco experienced this firsthand. Every Instagram post, interview, and public appearance was analyzed, dissected, and sometimes distorted. Rumors about relationships, career choices, and even supposed conflicts with co-stars circulated endlessly. In a world where speculation spreads faster than facts, separating truth from fiction became a daily challenge. Kaley had to learn quickly that fame meant losing control over parts of her own story. Tabloids and social media could twist moments out of context, creating narratives that were far from reality, yet she didn't let this define her. Instead, she learned to navigate these turbulent waters with a mix of humor, grace, and strategic transparency. Occasionally responding, sometimes ignoring, always protecting her boundaries, this became her method for maintaining sanity while staying authentic. The pressure wasn't just external. The constant awareness that millions of people were watching her life unfold could be emotionally exhausting. But through this, Kaley developed resilience and poise. She understood that scrutiny was an inevitable part of fame, and that her strength came not from avoiding it, but from staying true to herself, rising above the noise and controlling the narrative she could control, her work, her choices, and her voice. In many ways, these experiences strengthened her, not just as a celebrity, but as a person. She became sharper, wiser, and more deliberate in her actions. And while the public eye can feel unrelenting, it also became a mirror reflecting the fortitude and determination that made Kaley Cuoco not just a star, but a figure who commands respect both on and off the screen. Behind the glamour, Kaley Cuoco's journey has always been as much about personal growth as professional achievement. Fame and success can be intoxicating, but they also force you to confront yourself in ways few ordinary experiences ever do. For Kaley, the years of being Penny, followed by her ventures into new roles, production, and public life, became a crucible for self-discovery. She learned hard truths about who she was outside of her career, what she valued, who she trusted, and the kind of life she wanted to lead. The bright lights of Hollywood couldn't define her, nor could the applause of millions. Instead, she turned inward, reflecting on her strengths, weaknesses, and the emotional resilience required to thrive in a world that constantly judged her. This period of introspection wasn't always easy. Kaley faced moments of doubt, questioning if she could continue to reinvent herself or if the shadow of Penny would always loom large. But through these struggles, she grew stronger, more grounded, and more self-aware. Each new role, each production project, and each personal challenge became a mirror, reflecting not only her abilities as an artist, but her evolution as a human being. Kaley's journey reminds us that success isn't just about awards or recognition, it's about understanding who you are, embracing vulnerability, and choosing authenticity even when it's difficult. And as she discovered more about herself, she also realized that life in Hollywood was only one part of her story. Her growth as a person was just as remarkable as any on-screen achievement. For Kaley Cuoco, love and relationships have always been lived under a microscope, making the universal human experience of romance uniquely challenging. Every relationship, from high-profile romances to private connections, has been scrutinized, dissected, and often sensationalized by the media. In Hollywood, intimacy isn't just personal, it's public, and Kaley has had to learn how to protect her heart while living a life that millions observe daily. Navigating this terrain required maturity, self-respect, and clear boundaries. Kaley learned that relationships could be both a sanctuary and a minefield. The public's expectations, rumors, and speculation often complicated even the simplest moments. Yet she refused to let that define her happiness. Instead, she approached love with intention, seeking connections that were authentic, meaningful, and grounded in trust. These experiences shaped her emotionally as much as professionally. She developed resilience, empathy, and a deeper understanding of herself and others. They taught her that vulnerability is a strength, that privacy is a form of self-preservation, and that real connection often requires courage in the face of public judgment. Even as headlines buzzed with speculation, Kaley remained committed to living life on her own terms, choosing authenticity over perfection and emotional truth over image. Her journey through love, like her career, is a testament to her ability to balance public life with personal growth. It's proof that even under the most intense scrutiny, a person can maintain integrity, compassion, and self-awareness, creating a life that is both extraordinary and deeply human. As Kaley Cuoco's career skyrocketed, she discovered that fame isn't just a platform for recognition, it's also a platform for impact. Beyond acting, producing, and reinventing herself, she has become a passionate advocate and philanthropist, using her voice and resources to support causes close to her heart. From championing animal welfare to raising awareness for mental health, Kaley recognizes that the privilege of being in the spotlight comes with responsibility. Her advocacy isn't performative, it's deeply personal. Kaley has been open about her love for animals, often sharing stories of rescue pets she's helped find homes and supporting shelters with both her time and donations. She has also spoken candidly about the importance of mental health, encouraging fans and fellow actors to prioritize well-being, seek help when needed, and speak openly about struggles that often go unseen in the glitz of Hollywood. Balancing this philanthropic work with a high-profile career is no small feat. Kaley uses her social media thoughtfully, crafting messages that educate, inspire, and sometimes challenge her audience to think differently. Her influence extends far beyond the entertainment world. Every tweet, Instagram post, or public appearance can spark real change. Fans see a celebrity who isn't just entertaining them, but actively trying to make the world a better place. Yet this dedication comes with pressures. Advocating publicly opens one up to scrutiny and criticism, and Kaley has had to navigate the delicate line between raising awareness and being misinterpreted. But through it all, she remains committed, proving that fame, when paired with intention and compassion, can be a force for good. For all her professional triumphs, Kaley Cuoco's story is also one of balance. the delicate art of maintaining a fulfilling personal life while navigating the relentless demands of Hollywood. Fame brings countless opportunities, but it also brings relentless schedules, media scrutiny, and constant public attention, making the pursuit of personal happiness a complex endeavor. Kaley has been candid about the challenges of keeping her personal relationships, hobbies, and mental well-being intact amid the chaos of stardom. For her, balance isn't about perfection. It's about prioritization, self-awareness, and creating boundaries that protect her from burnout. She invests in the relationships that matter, surrounds herself with trusted friends and family, and carves out private moments where she can just be herself, free from cameras and commentary. This juggling act has shaped Kaley in profound ways. It taught her patience, resilience, and the importance of valuing personal growth alongside career success. She learned to celebrate small victories at home as much as professional milestones, understanding that personal fulfillment is often the foundation upon which lasting creative achievement is built. Her journey demonstrates that true success isn't only measured in awards or public adoration, it's also about cultivating a life that feels authentic, nurturing relationships that sustain her, and navigating the complexities of fame with grace. Kaley's ability to harmonize her ambitions with her personal life makes her not only a compelling star but a relatable human being whose experiences resonate far beyond Hollywood. Even for someone as talented and driven as Kaley Cuoco, the path to sustained success has never been without obstacles. Fame and accolades can mask the countless setbacks that shape an actor's journey, but behind every smile on a red carpet lies stories of auditions that didn't go as planned, projects that failed to resonate, and moments of self-doubt that could shake even the most confident performer. Kaley has been candid about the challenges she faced after The Big Bang Theory. No longer the sure thing from a long-running sitcom, she found herself navigating an industry that is notoriously fickle, where opportunities are competitive and criticism can feel personal. Every rejection, every overlooked role became a lesson in resilience, teaching her to separate failure from self-worth. She learned that in Hollywood, adaptability isn't just a skill, it's a survival strategy. These setbacks also fueled her determination. Kaley didn't retreat, she pushed forward, choosing roles that challenged her creatively, collaborating on projects that expanded her skill set, and embracing the uncertainty of riskier ventures. Each failure became a stepping stone, each critique a guide, helping her grow not just as an actor, but as a professional who understands the realities of her craft. What makes this chapter of her life so compelling is the human element. Audiences often see only the highlights, the awards, the fan adoration, but Kaley's story reminds us that real success is messy. It's built on perseverance, the courage to fail, and the tenacity to rise stronger each time. And as she embraced this mindset, doors began to open in unexpected ways, proving that resilience is often the greatest asset an actor can have. For Kaley Cuoco, playing it safe has never been part of the plan. Reinvention has been a constant theme in her career, a way to ensure she remains relevant, challenged, and creatively fulfilled. After leaving the iconic role of Penny, she deliberately sought out projects that demanded risk, projects that could fail spectacularly or redefine her as an actor in ways audiences weren't expecting. The Flight Attendant marked a pivotal point in this reinvention. In it, Kaley tackled a character far darker, more nuanced, and emotionally layered than anything she had done before. She balanced suspense, humor, and drama with an intensity that captivated viewers and critics alike. This wasn't just a role, it was a statement. Kaley Cuoco wasn't content with being typecast or defined by past success. She was determined to grow, explore, and challenge herself, no matter the stakes. Her willingness to take risks extended beyond acting. By stepping into production roles, exploring voice work, and advocating for projects she believed in, Kaley transformed from a celebrated actress into a multifaceted storyteller with control over her creative destiny. Each choice, each calculated leap, became a testament to her resilience, ambition, and refusal to settle for anything less than meaningful artistic expression. What makes this stage of her journey so captivating is the audacity behind it. Audiences witness not just a talented performer, but a woman who embraces uncertainty, welcomes challenges, and continually pushes the boundaries of her own career. Kaley's story here is a powerful reminder. True growth often lies outside the comfort zone, and the greatest achievements come to those willing to take bold risks. Kaley Cuoco's evolution in Hollywood didn't stop with acting or even producing. She became a creative force in her own right. Stepping into leadership roles behind the camera allowed her to not only shape projects but also challenge industry norms. In a world where female voices are often overshadowed, Kaley took the reins, making decisions that mattered creatively, emotionally, and socially. Leading a production meant balancing countless responsibilities: casting, script adjustments, visual storytelling, and the high-pressure logistics of filming. For someone who grew up in front of cameras, learning to direct the unseen forces behind the scenes was both exhilarating and daunting. Every decision carried weight, and every mistake could ripple across the project. But Kaley thrived under the pressure, transforming potential pitfalls into opportunities for innovation. This phase of her career revealed an entirely new dimension of her talent. Audiences began to realize that she wasn't just an actor or a producer, she was a visionary, someone willing to take risks that most would shy away from. Her ability to guide teams, advocate for stories that mattered, and maintain her unique creative voice underscored a powerful message. Kaley Cuoco wasn't just following a path laid out for her, she was forging her own, reshaping Hollywood on her terms. Yet with this power came personal stakes. Balancing creative control with the demands of a demanding industry and public expectations tested her resilience in ways the camera never could. And just when it seemed she had mastered this new frontier, life presented challenges that required more than talent. They demanded inner strength, strategic thinking, and unwavering courage. No amount of fame or critical acclaim can shield someone from life's most profound challenges, and Kaley Cuoco has faced her share of personal trials that shaped her in ways the public rarely sees. Behind the glamour, the accolades, and the relentless spotlight, she's endured losses and emotional upheavals that tested her core. These experiences weren't just private, they influenced how she approached her work, relationships, and even her own sense of self. They taught her resilience, humility, and the importance of valuing moments of joy amidst uncertainty. Kaley has spoken candidly about the pressures of balancing her personal life with a public career, navigating heartbreak, and learning to prioritize her mental and emotional well-being. Each challenge became a teacher, each struggle a lesson in perseverance and self-discovery. What makes this chapter so compelling is its relatability. Fans often see the perfect life curated through social media or the polished veneer of celebrity interviews. But Kaley's story reminds us that vulnerability and strength often coexist. She has taken life's hardships and used them to deepen her empathy, sharpen her focus, and embrace authenticity in both her personal and professional life. Her journey through personal loss and life lessons demonstrates that true strength isn't measured by fame or fortune, it's measured by the ability to keep moving forward, to find meaning in adversity, and to transform pain into purpose. And as she continues to navigate Hollywood and life beyond the screen, these experiences shape not only the roles she chooses, but the person she has become. A resilient, courageous, and inspiring force who refuses to be defined by circumstance. As Kaley Cuoco's career matured, she began to see the importance of lifting others as she climbed. With years of experience in front of the camera and behind the scenes, she became a mentor and advocate for emerging talent in Hollywood. Kaley understands the challenges of breaking into the industry, having navigated auditions, rejection, and the pressures of public scrutiny herself. Her guidance isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. She shares insights on resilience, self-confidence, and how to maintain authenticity in a world that constantly pressures young actors to conform. Mentorship also gave her a renewed sense of purpose. Watching someone grow under her guidance, knowing she played even a small role in shaping their path, provided a fulfillment that fame alone never could. Kaley's approach isn't just about teaching acting techniques, it's about modeling courage, persistence, and the ability to navigate setbacks with grace. Her influence extends beyond the craft itself by advocating for diverse voices and supporting women and underrepresented talent in production. Kaley is quietly reshaping the culture of Hollywood. She proves that real success isn't just about awards or box office numbers, it's about creating opportunities, empowering others, and leaving a legacy that reaches far beyond your own career. Yet even in this role, challenges abound. Balancing her own career, high-profile projects, and mentorship demands sharp focus, emotional intelligence, and unshakable resilience. But for Kaley, the rewards, both personal and professional, make every effort worthwhile, leaving a lasting imprint on the next generation of storytellers. As Kaley Cuoco's career matured, she began to see the importance of lifting others as she climbed. With years of experience in front of the camera and behind the scenes, she became a mentor and advocate for emerging talent in Hollywood. Kaley understands the challenges of breaking into the industry, having navigated auditions, rejection, and the pressures of public scrutiny herself. Her guidance isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. She shares insights on resilience, self-confidence, and how to maintain authenticity in a world that constantly pressures young actors to conform. Mentorship also gave her a renewed sense of purpose. Watching someone grow under her guidance, knowing she played even a small role in shaping their path, provided a fulfillment that fame alone never could. Kaley's approach isn't just about teaching acting techniques, it's about modeling courage, persistence, and the ability to navigate setbacks with grace. Her influence extends beyond the craft itself by advocating for diverse voices and supporting women and underrepresented talent in production. Kaley is quietly reshaping the culture of Hollywood. She proves that real success isn't just about awards or box office numbers. It's about creating opportunities, empowering others, and leaving a legacy that reaches far beyond your own career. Yet, even in this role, challenges abound. Balancing her own career, high-profile projects, and mentorship demands sharp focus, emotional intelligence, and unshakable resilience. But for Kaley, the rewards, both personal and professional, make every effort worthwhile, leaving a lasting imprint on the next generation of storytellers. Kaley Cuoco's journey in Hollywood has never been just about acting. It's about influence, identity, and redefining what it means to be a modern celebrity. Over time, she has taken deliberate steps to shape her public image, not as a static persona dictated by media narratives, but as a multidimensional individual balancing fame, artistry, and authenticity. In an era dominated by social media, viral trends, and instant commentary, Kaley has mastered the art of presence without losing herself. Every public appearance, interview, and post is carefully balanced to convey humor, sincerity, and depth. She has become a cultural figure, not just because of her roles, but because she embodies a way of navigating life under constant observation with intelligence, humor, and humanity. Her influence extends beyond entertainment. By speaking openly about mental health, creative ambition, and resilience, she challenges audiences to see celebrities not as untouchable icons, but as complex, relatable human beings. Kaley's choices, whether in fashion, public statements, or charitable involvement, reflect a conscious effort to use her platform meaningfully, to inspire, to provoke thought, and to make her visibility a force for good. Yet, redefining a public image is never without risk. Misinterpretation, criticism, and media scrutiny are constant companions, testing patience and resolve. But Kaley approaches it strategically, combining authenticity with savvy media awareness. This careful navigation has allowed her to transform from a beloved sitcom star into a cultural influencer, someone whose story, choices, and voice resonate far beyond Hollywood stages and red carpets. Kaley Cuoco's journey isn't just a story of personal success, it's a story of lasting influence. From her breakout role as Penny to her evolution as a producer, mentor, and cultural figure, she has left an indelible mark on both television and popular culture. The Big Bang Theory alone changed the landscape of sitcoms, bringing nerd culture into mainstream acceptance and creating a character that millions around the world could relate to, laugh with, and even aspire to emulate. But her legacy extends far beyond one show. Kaley has demonstrated that a career in Hollywood isn't merely about fame or fleeting popularity. It's about adaptability, growth, and the courage to reinvent yourself at every turn. Her willingness to take risks, embrace complex roles, and challenge industry norms has inspired countless aspiring actors, especially women, to pursue their passions relentlessly, even in spaces historically dominated by others. Her impact is also personal. Fans regularly share stories of how her performances, authenticity, and openness about life struggles gave them strength during challenging times. This is the mark of true influence, the ability to touch lives, shift perspectives, and leave a cultural imprint that goes beyond awards, ratings, or box office numbers. Kaley's story is proof that stardom can coexist with humanity, vulnerability, and integrity, and that the right combination of talent, determination, and heart can create a legacy that lasts far longer than any single role. Yet even with this influence, Kaley continues to push forward, never content to rest on her achievements. Her journey shows that real impact is an ongoing process, one fueled by curiosity, courage, and a relentless drive to redefine what it means to be a creative force in a modern, fast-changing world. Even after decades in the spotlight, Kaley Cuoco's story is far from over. She continues to evolve, explore, and take risks, proving that a career in Hollywood or in life is never truly complete. The lessons she has learned, from navigating the highs and lows of fame to balancing personal struggles, professional growth, and public scrutiny, have shaped a woman who is as strategic as she is daring, as compassionate as she is ambitious. Looking ahead, the possibilities are endless. Whether taking on new on-screen roles, expanding her production company, mentoring the next generation, or influencing culture in ways both subtle and profound, Kaley is positioned not just to participate in the future of entertainment, but to actively shape it. Every choice she makes, every story she tells, and every risk she takes reinforces a simple truth. Her journey is about more than stardom. It's about creating, inspiring, and leaving a mark that transcends the screen. And perhaps the most compelling part of her story is its unpredictability. The challenges, surprises, and triumphs she has faced show that life doesn't follow a script, even in Hollywood. But for Kaley, that unpredictability is part of the thrill, the chance to grow, redefine herself, and surprise the world once again. Her story leaves one undeniable impression. The end of a chapter is never the end of the story, and for someone with her talent, resilience, and vision, the best is always yet to come. Kaley Cuoco's story isn't just about fame, it's about transformation. Over the years, she has reinvented herself multiple times, navigating a career that could have easily pigeonholed her into a single role. The transition from Penny, the bubbly girl next door, to a multifaceted actor and producer required more than talent. It demanded courage, introspection, and relentless dedication. Each project, each audition, each decision became part of her personal evolution. She embraced opportunities that challenged her, forcing herself out of comfort zones and into spaces where failure was possible, but growth was guaranteed. This reinvention wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal. Kaley learned to define herself on her own terms, balancing public perception with private authenticity. Her journey is a blueprint for resilience in an unpredictable world. It's a reminder that real growth comes from confronting fears, making bold choices, and refusing to settle for the familiar. Every setback, every critique, and every success shaped her into a woman capable of navigating life's complexities while staying true to herself. And as she continues to evolve, Kaley demonstrates that reinvention is not just an occasional event. It's a lifelong practice, fueled by curiosity, courage, and self-awareness. Kaley Cuoco's influence extends far beyond the characters she portrays. She has become an emblem of perseverance, creativity, and authenticity, a figure that inspires millions of fans and young actors to chase dreams without compromise. Her willingness to be vulnerable, to share the highs and lows of fame, and to openly discuss mental health challenges has added layers to her impact, showing that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the ability to navigate it with grace. Looking to the future, the possibilities for Kaley are boundless. Whether it's breaking new ground in film, producing innovative content, mentoring emerging talent, or leveraging her platform for causes she cares about, she continues to push the limits of what's possible. Each choice she makes is infused with vision, intention, and a fearless spirit, a testament to the fact that her story is still unfolding. And perhaps the most captivating part is this: for someone who has achieved global recognition, millions of fans, and critical acclaim, she still approaches each new challenge with curiosity, ambition, and humility. Her journey reminds us that true success isn't measured solely by fame or awards. It's measured by the impact you leave, the barriers you break, and the legacy you continue to build. For Kaley Cuoco, the best chapters are not behind her. They're still being written, full of promise, surprise, and the kind of inspiration that can move a generation. Kaley Cuoco's influence extends far beyond her performances on screen. Penny may have been the character that made her a household name, but her work has left an indelible mark on pop culture. She helped define an era of television, creating a character that was witty, relatable, and iconic, a role that will be remembered long after the final credits of The Big Bang Theory roll. But her legacy is more than just nostalgia or laughter. It's about representation and inspiration. Through her journey, Kaley has shown that it's possible to evolve, challenge yourself, and reinvent your career without losing authenticity. She has become a role model for young actors, particularly women, proving that it's possible to navigate the intense pressures of Hollywood while maintaining personal integrity. Her impact is subtle yet powerful, shaping how audiences view women in comedy, drama, and leadership roles behind the camera alike. And while the accolades, ratings, and awards are visible proof of success, the true measure of her influence lies in the countless fans, aspiring performers, and peers who see her as more than a star. They see her as a trailblazer, someone who has transformed challenges into opportunities and left a cultural imprint that transcends the screen. But the story doesn't stop there.